Om Shanti. So we discussed about the purpose of meditation and the other forms of sadhana is done for conditioning the mind to tune to divine thoughts. Divine is that auspiciousness. Divine is that Devikata in us, Ishwarata in us, where that which is unchangeable, immovable, it is that which is permanent. It's what we discussed. Now the 27th shloka says, Tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Tasya saptadha pranta bhumihi prajna. Enlightenment. Prajna is enlightenment. Prajna, so enlightenment is reached through 7 steps. Saptadha. Seven in the sense, according to Maharishi Patanjali. Various Shastras explain this in a different way. So we should not get totally confined only to this, but this is the way which Maharishi Patanjali thought, that in Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga, we have taken that, what is that, Patanjali? Yoga Shastra, Yoga Sutras. The Yoga Sutras, Patanjali mentions about this Sapta. This is different, you will find differences in this. When you go to various Upanishads, it's different. In Vedic science, it is the Vedas. Some Vedas and Upanishads will be, okay, one difference. Many others also have explained this enlightenment process in different ways. Bhagavad Gita explains, of course, again, that's Upanishad only, in a different way. This is one of the ways of the enlightenment. So don't get confined to only this, but doesn't mean it's not right, it is right. But it is not alone, because when we have already explained so many Upanishads we have taken already, so various methods we have already seen. We have also seen Patanjali Yoga Sutra, where we have taken all the Ashtanga Yogas in detail. So that also we have experienced. And Bhagavad Gita's explanation, which is definitely linked and definitely same as in the Vedic Vedas and Upanishads. So it's also different. The Karma Yoga, different yogas have been mentioned, and through those practices one can go ahead. But here he has taken it in a different way, where Ashtanga Yoga is prescribed. So Saptadhi, why he has said Saptadhi means before Samadhi is the latest one. Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhanam Samadhi. Samadhi is the 8th one. So he said Saptadhi is required for reaching Samadhi. It's why 7 he said, 7 steps he said. 8th is the final step, so it is not considered as a step. 8th is a landing, as far as steps are concerned. If you call it as steps, it's why it is known as Saptadhi. That's why Saptadhi, not Ashtadhi. So Ashtanga Yoga, but Saptadhi. 7 steps to reach the 8th step. That's it. That's what it meant. So in 28th shloka, Bhagavan further explains on that. Yoganganushthanat shuddhi chaye jnana deeptira viveka khyate. Yoganganushthanat shuddhi chaye. By practicing various steps of yoga, impurities are destroyed and spiritual illumination arises. Jnana viveka khyadehe, which develops into awareness of reality. Jnana desira. The theoretical aspects of yoga have been dealt with. We have been talking about it. Maharishi Patanjali now points out the following practical steps is necessary. So 29th shloka he says that Yamaniyama asana pranayama pratyahara dharana dhyanam samadhayo ashtavangani. Ashtangas, 8. Anga means 8 divisions, 8 parts, 8 steps, it's all the same. Are that what is necessary for Samadhi? The 8 limbs, including Samadhi. These are the 8 limbs of yoga according to Maharshi. Raja Yoga, this is also known as Raja Yoga. This is no Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga, sometimes it is known as Ashtanga Yoga in various cases. Or they both are same, Raja Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga both are same. Or the Yoga of 8 limbs, they translate in the order given above as Yama, self-restraints, Niyama, observations, Asana is postures, Niyama Asana, Pranayama, regulation of breath, Pratyahara is withdrawal of mind from sense objects, concentration, meditation and the superconscious state. So these are the 8 limbs. So in 8 limbs, then further division of the 8 limbs. So this I have taken most of them, so I may not go into very details. So just having come here, we have to pass through this. We will pass through it. Something new will come automatically. So Yama, what is Yama? Yama is that self-restraints. Yama. Niyama is the observing. The Niyama. Yama is that self-restraints. Yeah. So these are the 2 important parts of this in the initial stages. There itself, the normal common man fails to complete it. Even when if we can do Yama and Niyama complete, it is good. The self-restraint and observances. What is that? Yama is Ahimsa Satyamasteyam Brahmacharya Aparigraha Samayamaha. The Yama is self-restraint. These are not actions. Restraining oneself into from these. This is why the Yama is a theoretical part of it. Niyama is a practical part of it. This is how one can look at the classification of these 2. Very important, of course. This is how character building we can say, or we can say samsara, or the culturing, creating samskara, not samsara, sorry, samskara. It is samskara. From the in Hindi they call sanskar. Sanskrit it is samskara. Samskaram is Sanskritam. What is Sanskritam? In the language, the literal meaning of Sanskrit is that which is cultured. Sanskrit. Asamskrita padartha is raw material, which I have told you earlier also. Asamskrita is that which is as it is, original, like it has been taken from the sea, from the mines. No, this asamskrita padartha, raw material. Once it is made into the, in essence, the purpose, depending upon the purpose you make them, culture them, is called like cultured pearls, culture, everything. Even the metals what we take out is not the same as this one, but it is all cultured. So culturing is what is called self-restraining. Samskara, sorry. That samskara is not only self-restraining, samskara. Out of these necessity of these is that to develop the samskara, to make one a true samskari, the one who gets cultured into, what is that culturing? Culturing to synchronize the prakriti, swabhava. It's called dharma. Prakriti swabhava is dharma. We have a lot of adharmic pravritis, adharmic thinking, adharmic pravritis, adharmic, everything is, every moment. If one dharma is taught, 10 adharma is taught along with that. This is how the mind works. Lots of resistance. The mind is working with a lot of resistance. We have to push through it, because the resistance is very high. It's always like that. Whenever something good has to take place, the resistance is very high. And when you want to walk, there is a resistance in the opposite direction. It's why you have to use the force, you see. That is because, according to science, it is because of the law of attraction, law of this one. So the samskara, development of samskara, character building or culturing is absolutely necessary. Without that, how can you go further in it? Whatever. Yama niyama is very important. That's why they are given a lot of bifurcations and explanations and hair splitting method into yama and niyama. So the yama is ahimsa satyamasti, yama parigraha, brahmacharyam aparigraha. Are those which are specified for the yama, which has to be followed. Out of that, what is yama? What is that? Ahimsa satyamasti. What is that? Ahimsa is non-injury, according to literal translation, is non-injury. This is what they call in English, I think. Satyam, truthfulness. Asteyam is not stealing or not taking something which is not yours. Is stealing. So we can use the word steal. Non-stealing they call here. Brahmacharya means continence, austerity, continence, we have explained. Continence. Aparigraha means non-acquisitiveness. Non-acquisitiveness in the sense non-possessiveness. Acquiring things, holding things. Whatever it is, whether it is wealth, whether it is knowledge, whether it is health, anything which is more is good. Even health is many. Today the health clubs are booming only because of this characteristics of acquisitiveness. Everyone wants to be of particular specifications, whether it is natural or unnatural. So what happens? non-injury, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence and non-acquittance, acquisitiveness. That's called. These are the Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama. Sorry, Ahimsa Satyam Asteyam Brahmacharyam Aparigraha. These are the. Now he goes into little explanations, small explanations of those things. The yamas are abstentions. Yama is known as abstention. Make up the most basic of all spiritual practices. As I told you, these are the basic necessities of what one who should need. In this itself, people have to spend janmas. Then only comes asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyanam, then samadhi. Now imagine. If this base is fixed, the others are much easier to acquire. These are the basic obstacles, these are the things. This is connected with the, when you translate into Bhagavad Gita's principles, Bhagavan Krishna explains about the Karma Yoga in the second chapter, Vishada Yoga, then the Karma Yoga. So this is a classification of Vishada and Karma Yoga together. We can say it is Yama Niyama. In these things covers up all these things. If this we can overcome, if Vishada can overcome, Vishada is what? Vishada is based on the Yama and Yama, that's all. Ahimsa, Satyamasya, when all these things are there, Vishada is not there. Niyama is observance of that, following that, principles of that. These put together becomes the Karma Yoga. So this is how it is taken. Here it has been, Patanjali has divided into these two, whereas Bhagavan has told about the Karma Yoga and Jnana Marga. Then comes the Jnana Marga, where Dharana, Dhyanam and all comes. Karma Yoga and Jnana Margam comes. Bhakti Yoga comes along with the Jnana Marga, Bhakti and Jnanam opening together. Then comes the Sannyasa Yoga, Samadhi. Sannyasa Yoga. So this is how one can translate it or go into it. But here, more of karma for a common man, how to approach that each and everything has been told, even though this has been told in a different way in the Vishada Yoga and Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga it has been told non-injury is necessary, ahimsa is necessary, satyam is necessary, asteyam is necessary. Everything has been told. Well, this is how we have to relate it. They are not separate. The words, it may appear to be separate, but they are not separate. But it has been presented in a different way, and these have certain details. Both are beneficial, no doubt about it. One who understands Bhagavad Gita's high principles, that's at a very high pedestal, very high principles of yogic, Vedic science. These are much more, understandable for the common man in through this way. Ahimsa. So it is going into details of the Karma Yoga. That's what happens. In Karma Yoga, what are necessary? To do a karma, what is necessary? Even to look at an object, Ahimsa, Satyamasteyam, Brahmacharyam, Aparigraham is necessary. Otherwise, you cannot look at an object. You may look in the sense, you may look at the object through your physical eyes, but you may not have the vision of the object in its true sense. You are only looking through the emotions or illusions or ignorance through that avidya only. You are looking at the object through avidya. When you are looking at the object through avidya, avidya is that produced. It's not a clarity that is given. Whereas the vidya, you have to look at it through avidya. So even each and every small thing you have to see through this Yamaniyama or the Karma Yoga. As a Karma Yoga, not as a Karma Yoga, that's why it is known as Karma Yoga. Vishada Yoga, Karma Yoga. That means yoga means yujyate iti yoga. That's a principle. So this has to be understood. So that's why this has been told. Some of us, or many of us, when we look at an object, we only look at those faults in that. First thing is that only faults. They don't find the moment they find fault and they stop it. They don't go for the details of other things. No. Oh, these are the faults in this, so reject. Is it not? Most of the people, their eyes fall on the faults. Fine. You have to see the faults also, no problem. But along with that, the other things also have to be seen. How to see? You have to practice. How to see things. Do you know how to see things? Your emotions directs at the faults. If somebody is walking in front of you, what you will notice first? The fault of that person. No exaggerations. This is what you ask your own mind. Mind will say, how is he walking? You see, I may be walking with one limb, but still you will see that. No, how is he walking? Somebody with both hands will be moving. Somebody's only one hand will be moving. Somebody moving both the hands to the back, and somebody moving both hands to the front while walking. These things will fall on. We don't look at the person actually. And we identify that person with that. How he walks. Just an example. What I am trying to tell you is that your eyes fall exactly on those which are not, it's an incomplete assessment of that object that you are doing, the fault finding. The mind is attractive towards it, as I always said, Upanishad also says that. It's a big wide screen. "50 feet by 100 feet wide screen. So big. One dot of black in the middle. Somewhere. Where will the eye fall on? That which is not common. 99.9% is white, only 0.01% is that black dot, but your eye will fall not on the screen but will be on the black dot. Right. I don't say you should not see, this is a natural phenomena, because that's something which is different from the mass. Our eyes fall on that. If there is a mass, something which is different from the mass, we look at it. This is natural phenomena of the mind, no doubt about it. Spirituality is different. They don't value your emotional, attractive, your immediate emotional, sensational look at it. You have to look. There you are looking. But in spirituality they say, you should have vision. How should we, then what do you think that, how should we look? We should look first, the 99.99% of the screen first, the mind should be impressed on the screen first, then we say there is a black dot in that. It's a very small one and it should be removed. But the major attraction should be to your mind, should be that white which is maximum. This is how one should look. One should look in totality, not only part by that and decide what is to be done. You must see everything. No? There are always, there is nothing in this world which is only bad, isn't it? And there is nothing which is only good. So also. But then what we have to see, you should see both bad and good, then you have to ascertain. That's called, what did we say in the last class of that? Discriminative cognition. What is the Sanskrit word for that? Viveka, absolutely right. We should have Vivekam. When we have Vivekam, discriminative cognition will be there. Then I said about the swan, hunts, differentiating the milk and the water in totality. How could he differentiate the milk and water? Because of the power of discriminative cognition, the power of discrimination. In the power of discrimination, he identified the totality of it, not looking at the milk alone, not looking at the water. You buy milk from a milkman those days. Nowadays, there's no milkman, no? All in packets. Don't know what is the percentage of water, what is the percentage of milk in it. But earlier days, we remember, no? We all must have gone through that stage. The youngsters will not understand that. The milkman comes with that one. Then he will give it to you, measure like that. So after, not that process I am talking about, I am talking about something else. The moment he gives you, the person who receives it, says that, "Aaj to pura pani hai." Is it what we say now? I'm just, it is okay, fine. I'm just giving an example. No? But I was saying, "Ito pura pani hai." So many other things. Then he says, "Gai pani piya" and all that. That's a different thing. That is, I'm not talking about it. Here we say that what we say, for milk, I mean it's a mixture of milk and water maybe, okay. But we won't say that, "Eto only water." This is only water. I'm just telling that, no, our characteristics, you see, our assessment, it's okay, you mean that there is more water in this, it's mixed there. Okay. That's a different thing. But how do you look at it, is what I'm saying, when I'm talking about this subject. So you should know how to look, how to see. It's very important in spirituality. Then only the faith develops, Otherwise only the fictitious activities will, that's unfaith, develops. The faith is developing that in the water there is milk. It's called the faith. But in the milk there is only water. It's unfaithful to that. I'm talking about milk, so because I was talking about it, so I just translated it there. So, what is faith? See the milk in the water is faith. See the gunas in the Ishvara is faith. See the gunas in the Dhyanam, benefits of Dhyanam is faith. How to look at it? Through the faith. This is called faith. When you can see properly, or when you can look and when you can see. Looking is an activity done by a physical organ called eyes. But seeing is an organ, seeing is an activity done by the seer, who is the mind. There is a difference between them. So don't look at things, see things. It's a basic requirement for spirituality, the spiritual development. You should be able to see. Seer and seeing, we already described in the different shloka at length, we described about the seer and seen. So the seer should be have that faith, and this faith development process is called yama. In order to develop the faith in you, yama will help. How? We said about ahimsa. When ahimsa is done, then we realize about the himsa. And we know that is bad. So faith in ahimsa develops. Satyam. When we see the truth, we are in a position to identify that is which is untruth. Faith is when the seer seeing the faith, I mean through the faith, Satyam, non-stealing, asteyam, that which is not to be accepted, which is not mine. Brahmacharyatvam, we have explained. The basic meaning of Brahmacharyatvam is that to be following the principles of the Brahman and charate towards that path is Brahmacharyatvam. That means a total discipline to neglect, avoid the materialistic way of thinking and living. Merging with the nature and identifying the Brahman and following the path of that Brahma Tattva, Brahma Jnana is called Brahmacharyatvam. Even though Brahmacharyatvam has been explained what are the things to be done. But here and all, they give only very small paragraph on what is Brahmacharyatvam. Brahmacharyatvam is a very big subject which I think I have explained it in detail to you all. That is Brahmacharyatvam. Brahmacharyatvam cannot be decided only by one activity. No. It's not. So Brahmacharyatvam, then non-acquaintance, non-acquisitiveness, possessing, acquiring, acquisition. Acquisitiveness is called aparigraha, aparagraha, from apara, the Greek grade is grade. With this, now you can imagine, with these you can develop the faith on the truth, on the Prakriti or on the Purusha in Prakriti. While living in the Prakriti, to be associated with the Purusha, identification of the Purusha, identification of the Brahman, is that what we are talking about. This is called faith. Faith in which you have not experienced. That which a sensation or a belief, or a sensation or a dependency on something which you do not know is called faith actually. Which you already know, you don't have faith. Do you have faith on any material in this world? Do you have faith in any human being in this world? Sincerely talking, depth of your mind, look at it. Do you have faith in anything in this world? We test everything. We go through various process of examining and identifying, then only we accept it. It's okay. I'm not saying it's not right. I'm just telling what is called the faith. Faith. But when we talk about Ishvara, question of testing, question of understanding, nothing else, we have to have the faith. Now this faith is that which is in the unknown. So the unknown, how to have the faith in the unknown, is just not very logical. That which I do not know, how do you are telling me that I should have faith on that, which I do not know at all? Absolutely right. One simple answer, not much complicated. Because when you ask why I should have faith on which I do not know, and which I have not seen, which I have not experienced. Because you do not have faith on whatever you have experienced, whatever you have seen, whatever you have undergone, and whatever you know, you don't have faith on that, so you should have faith on. That's called faith. When you yourself have seen this, you do not have faith on any of these things. You don't have faith in yourself. That's why you are asking every time, what should I do? How will it happen? Tomorrow what will happen to me? You don't have faith. Well, it's natural. I'm not saying it. I'm just talking about faith. You do not have faith in yourself. Forget about other things now. The quality of faith is not installed in your instrument called mind. It's not there. So that which is not there is not faith. That which is not there is called faith. That what is there is no faith. This you have already experienced. That in which what you have experienced, you know that nothing is permanent, nothing can be dependent on. I am just putting words, mincing words, and then making things understand in a different way, even though it may not be the right process. What is the right process? What I am trying to tell you is that when I renounce those which are there in front of me physically, which I see, which I understand, which I experience, when I renounce them, I see which are not necessary to be experienced, which are not necessary to be seen, which are not necessary to be felt, but which is there. That which is not there in, if I start talking, what's faith? That what is not there in you, you are unable to experience it. That what is not there in you, you are unable to experience. The faith that is not there in you cannot experience it. You say that unless I see that, how can I have faith? I say, when you see something, you will not have faith. Other way, opposite. Why? Because that which has to be experienced, please, that which has to be experienced, that which has to be seen, that which has to be felt, that which has to be enjoyed, that which has to be experimented, all of them, you want to do it because that is not there in you. Right? Why you want to experience something? Because you have not experienced it. Why you want to see something? You have not seen it. Why you want to feel something? You have not felt it. You are doing an experiment on that. No, that means that which is not you, that which is not in you, you would like to have experience of that is there. The Brahman that is in you, the higher consciousness that is in you, since it is there in you, you do not want to experience. Are you getting it? That what is already with you, do you want to experience it? You might be wearing a cheaper textile or a very expensive material. Every time you wear that one, are you conscious of that what it is? First time when you buy or after once or twice, or when somebody asks, then you may tell them that. Otherwise, we are not conscious about it. We don't want to experience it because it is with you. That which is not other than this, if I see, I would like to experience it. Right? Shopkeeper says, this is a very expensive material, this is a very latest product, and this is the best one. Why don't you buy this? You say, I already have it. I don't want it. I don't want to experience. This is what I am trying to tell you. Do you want? No, I don't want. Why? Because I don't want to experience it because I already experienced it. That which is not there with you, you would like to experience it. I am coming to that. That's all. That which is not there in you. That means you have the Brahman and the consciousness in you. You don't want to experience it. Other than that, the material as the Jivatma is born in order to experience through the Prakriti the divinity of the Prana, divinity of the Jivatma, he experiences the Prakriti. This is what we said about the birth of the Jivatma. That's how the Jivatma has come. Same way, we would like to experience that which is not there with us. We do not want to experience that what is there in us. Inherent quality of ours is that we have total faith on that which is not known to us, which we have. We have total faith. Having entangled into those unfaithful materials, external, because to know that I have to experiment it, experience it, eat it, see it, touch it, and things like that. We forgot about that what is not seen in us, that what is existing, and that what is not seen, that what is existing, which need not be experienced and which cannot be experienced. Which cannot be experienced, which need not to experience. We have faith on that. Who has faith on that? Our consciousness has got faith on that. Now, who is the one who doesn't have faith on it? Let us classify. Who is that who doesn't have the faith on it? It is the ego and the mind. That's the one which doesn't have the faith on Atma and Paramatma. Let us call it that way. That which is the existence. Mind is entangled into experimental experiences through the Indriyas in the external world, so he doesn't have faith in the Atma and Paramatma. The day mind renounces his own decision of experimental experiences of external objectiveness, he becomes that Atma or Paramatma. Even then, he doesn't have the faith. Mind has no faith. Why? Because mind becomes the Atma after renunciation. So long it is there, activities entangled into activities, the mind is experiencing only the external experiences through the Indriyas. So he is trying to find peace, he is trying to find faith. Here it is faith, somewhere it is peace. Same thing. Through the external materials. Whereas he doesn't know that once I renounce it, I have the total faith on, this is the total faith, absolute faith on the Atma and Paramatma. But to create that status, he should be in a position to renounce all the entanglement. Otherwise, he being in the whirlpool of experience the materialistic ways, he is not in a position to have the faith on that which he is not experiencing. Is why one is saying that how can I have faith on something which I do not know. Who do not know this? You said I do not know. Who? Your ego and your mana does not know that doesn't mean that it is true. So you should know that there are things which you do not know. It's a basic principle of spirituality. In Upanishad they say that basically understand one thing. There are so many things which you do not know. What you know is only very insignificant percentage. What you claim to be knowing is only very insignificant percentage that you know. That which is not known is the maximum. You should know that, because this knowing, that's why this practice is necessary. This knowing of little bit of insignificant knowing that is there in your mind and indriyas, in your intelligence or in your intellect that is there, you should be in a position to understand that this has come from the greater knowledge only. Where has it come from? You say, I do not know, or I know. That you do not know. That how I asked this earlier also. I think this earlier classes, if you go through, you will find out. You know that you do not know that. That's why you say, I do not know. No. You know that you do not know. How do you know that it is you do not know that? Because the knowledge is the existence. It is there always. It's the ego and it's the mana, that's the one which doesn't know. That's what we say, I do not know, or I don't have the experience. Whom do you want to expect? Who do you expect to have experience? The mind and indriyas. You believe that the mind and indriyas and your ego experiences, then only it is existing, but not beyond that. So to know that, this is called how to train your mind, that there are things which I do not know and which I do not have to experience. That which is being experienced is only an experimental experience to derive the phala, the result of that these are all temporary, these are all nothing. Why we do so many things? As I told you always, that we do karma in order to exhaust them, not to assimilate them. Have you noticed the word? We are doing karmas to exhaust them. Same way, we are knowing and experiencing things in our life only to exhaust them, not to keep along with us. Is called renunciation. We are all doing it for renouncing them. In our normal day-to-day languages, we say that also. Chalo bhai, wo kaam to ho gaya. How it is? Very small thing, no? What do you mean by that? I have exhausted that. That karma is exhausted. This is exactly what I am talking. Nothing other than that. Talked in a different language, that's all. In a colloquial language, चलो भाई वो उसकी शादी कर दी, हो गया झमेला. अब झमेला जो आ रहा है वो तो दूसरी बात है. But what I am trying to tell you is that whatever you are doing, whatever you are experimenting, whatever you are experiencing, whatever you are feeling, whatever you are going through, they are all meant for exhausting. Right? No? Absolutely right. And when you exhaust them, then you are in the status of total faith. That which is not known to your ego and mind is the one which is called existence, which is called Brahman, which cannot be changed, which need not be experienced, because you become that. There is no experiencer at that point of time, so nothing is to be experienced. So the faith, question of faith, is that a transition period from the material or the sansaric jivan to the Adhyatmic Jivan. The faith is that when you do tapasya, when you do meditation, when you do things like that, when you have the total capacity to renounce, at that moment you have the total dependence on those which are the existence in which is the truth, and based on that you do your meditation, and renunciation is called the faith, that which is not experienced by you. And that you should remember one thing: you can have faith only on something which is not experienced by you. Another word to confirm: you do not have, or you have no faith on that which is experienced by your ego and mind. Experience is done only by ego and mind. Atma doesn't experience. Atma is a witness. We always said that. So, there is no faith on those which you have already experienced or experiencing or supposed to be experiencing. That is why we don't say, is there any word in any of the Shastras or Vedas? Experience spirituality. At least I have not read. Experience spirituality. Somebody instructing Guru is telling Shishya, experience spirituality. Even in tapasya, in meditation also, he says that stay in that position, be in that status, is what he says. He is not telling that to experience it. When there is an experiencer and experience, they are two different and detached, and they are not to be dependent on. They are temporary. They are temporary. You should become that so that you don't need to experience it. When you become that, you don't need to experience it. When you are experiencing it, that means your ego and your mind is trying to experience the Dvaita Siddhantam. That means it is only the external objective experience. That is why all the Upanishad, all the Shastras say that renounce that is there, so you will be in that. The experiencing part of that comes only for those which are already you are experiencing. Bhagavan told Arjuna, hey Arjuna, don't ask me whether to fight or not. I am telling you, you fight this war. Finished. At the end of it, you will be there. Exhausting the karmas. This is a karma which has to be done by the Nara. Nara and Narayana are those two. Arjuna and Krishna are Nara, Narayana. The Nara is supposed to undergo the process of experiencing that, so he says that you just do it, that's all. So that it is exhausted. Vishada is only because of that, because you do not want to exhaust the karmas, is why the Vishada comes. In our life also, we do not want to renounce things, is why we have got Vishada in us. We do not want to exhaust our karmas, is why we have Kashta and Dukkha. We have to end them, we have to finish them, we have to take them out. We want to stick on to them, hold on to them, possess them, aparigraha. We want to always keep in that possessiveness of that. That's why that what you received is always, what you keep with you is always Dukkha and Kashta. When Swamiji was talking, I liked it actually. I was telling that. I think it is here also somewhere. Yeah, I think it's here. So Swamiji was telling that people who possess things, whatever it is, possession, whatever possession, X, Y, Z, immaterial, whatever you possess, rest of your life is spent only on protecting that and saving it. You are living as a watchman. You are unable to do any karmas. I have possessed it and kept it. Now stand at the gate, watch this. This nobody should take. This affection, this love, this money, this wealth, this. Suppose I move from here, suppose it goes away, what happens? So I am busy only protecting my possessions. Watchman. Unpaid watchman. Nobody pays salary also for that. On the other hand, there is punishment. That's called next Janma. To resign from watchmanship. Whoever has possessed, let us think, even our own things, let us say, how busy we are. There are, electronic locks, cameras, sensory system. Some here burglar enters, somewhere else somebody knows, and lock can be opened through the cell phone. You can program it. Till then you should keep it locked. You should know how things are working. You know what is happening inside the locked house. What is happening? So you should see the phone. Inside the locked house, cameras are kept. Lock is perfect or not, that also is true. Why all this? Look at this. Possession, protecting the watchman's job, nothing other than that. If I don't love if I don't give this to my son, suppose he gets angry, let me give possession. Watchmanship, that's also another watchmanship. Scared, fear of losing the relationship. So they have put a beautiful word for that, politicians, diplomatic relationships. What is that diplomatic relationship? Watchmanship or kuch nahi hai. Nothing else is what I understand. I don't know what you all understand. What is diplomatic relationship? Diplomacy. Don't tell what is supposed to be told. Diplomacy. Why? Because one will lose the... What diplomacy is required? Diplomacy is what? Vanity. Absolute lie. Is it not? Ninda. It's not Satyam. Only for the purpose of keeping the relationship, watchmanship, possessiveness. Well, it is required, that's a different thing. I'm just talking about spirituality. All these things are meant only for Manusmriti, explained about all these things. They are all meant for the Sansarik Jivan. Yes, that is necessary in Sansarik Jivan. Diplomacy and things like that. Where am I? Gone far away from you. So what I am trying to tell you is that the development of the practices of the yama, niyama and all that is meant for creating that faith towards the truth and the spirituality or to the existence that is necessary. When I recognize and realize the existence which I do not need any experience, which I do not have, I don't want to have any experience of that. I don't have to have any possession on that, no possessiveness on that. Yes. We have learned in Puranas about the possessiveness. Ravana wanted to possess Bhagavan Shiva. You know that how he has taken the Atmalingam and went to this one, and Bhagwan was acting as a watchman in Ravana's palace for many years. Then only Mahavishnu comes and fights a war and releases him. Then, he must be knowing the story. Why? Bhagwan should be only with me. Possessiveness of Bhagwan isn't necessary, it's necessary. Ishwaratva, that which is there. That's why it's called existence. The faith on the existence, or the faith on the is called the faith, where we are not dependent on the materialistic pleasures. Why we require experiment and experiences of material is because that we would like to have the pleasures of that. We would like to enjoy them. That is why we want that. But in the true spirituality, that's why we don't call it as experiment or experience the spirituality. No. Spirituality is a status. Spirituality is a status, that's all. To be in yourself, to be in the spirits of you, to be in the status of that. So that's why we do all that. So in order to practice this, to remove and to renounce, to teach the renunciation, rather, let me call it that way, to teach the renunciation of the sansaric, external, objective experiences to the mind and the ego, intellect, we have to practice these methods so that physically, here what we are doing is that we are physically molding them, making them experience, making them understand, then going into the yoga yujyate. That's the theoretical part of it, which is the absoluteness, where there are no activities after the yoga. So in order to have that yoga, these people who are not or are not in a position to experience the existence and the truth and the Brahmatvam in them. Aham Brahmasmi principle, Shivoham principle. This principle has to be understood. In order to understand that, he has to, some of them, they have advanced themselves by from the intellectual studies and all that above, and they reach the Atma and Atmapada and the Brahmapada through that. Some others who are at a lower categories in the humanity, they have to undergo these physical practices so that they are in a position to understand what it is. We do puja in order to understand, make us believe that there is God. Is it not? We worship the God's photograph to make us believe and have faith on us to have known that there is God. For that, a physical activity is necessary. Actually, this physical activity is only for that. So a physical activity is necessary. You have to create this, you have to do this puja, you have to do that puja, the vidhi of puja, and the naivedyam has to be this, for this God this puja, for this God this puja, for this God this naivedyam, and for this God another naivedyam, and for this God this flower, another God this flower should not be used, another flower. Tulsi puja is not done in the Devi Mandir, Kali Mandir. Those hibiscus flower is not normally used for the puja for Vishnu and others. No, it's not possible. No, all these divisions have been made based on certain principles, of course. Made it what? To make you have faith that there is God, that's all. Once there is God, there is no restriction what flower you put, how you pray even. So, a status of bhakti. You reach a status of bhakti, that's all. So what you have to do is that physically we have to do things. That's why physically we are doing things. So through the physical activities, the mind gets the experience of the physical activity. From that, through the viveka, one understand what is the purpose of doing that karma, and then identify the truth and the Brahman. Through the Karma Yoga, learning it. This is why I said this consists of Karma Yoga, is why I said. Physically practicing something has to be, translated into or transmitted into the spiritual activities. This is how it happens. So, initially, we are not starting. I think we can take in the next class. Ahimsa. We'll start with Ahimsa. In Yama, the first thing is Ahimsa, Satyamastaya, non-injury, violence. That the meaning of violence, it's non-injury means violence, no? Non-violence. The meaning of violence itself is what you know. Violating is violence. What are you violating? Violating the peace, violating the dharmam, violating the prakriti niyamam. Is violence. Anything done against this, violating this is called violence. Don't think violence is only shouting and beating and killing only is not. Anything adharmic is violence. So what is ahimsa? Sometimes killing is dharma. Sometimes killing is dharma. An asurikata in an individual has to be killed is called dharma. Not the person has to be killed. But asurikata in him has to be killed. It's called dharma. So this is called violence. I think let's not be violent today. We will only learn non-violence, not violence. Okay? Next. Om Shanti.